This episode is proudly supported by the new Capital Food Market Canberra, where you can explore the very best producers, artisans, fresh food providores and hospitality venues of the region. Here's Jared Deaton from 3 Mills Bakery.
And I think that's the beating heart of the city. You always sort of travel and remember going to, markets and see what the culture's all about. So it was sort of only natural for us to really want to be a part of the new Capital Food Market. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. I think it's an amazing market.
For more information, go to capitalfoodmarket.com.au or visit the markets and feed your curiosity.
The biggest thing that I like about and drives me constantly is that feeling of, all these people that are coming here, they're having a great time, they celebrating, a birthday or 50th anniversary, or they're getting engaged here. It's like how we are a place that enables all these, life memorable moments. So that's what kind of motivates me and keeps me going.
How does a restaurateur go from arriving in Australia, speaking no English, and finding work as a cleaner, to being a successful restaurateur in Sydney with 2 restaurants? Today, our guest is Peruvian restaurant owner Luis Guzman. His restaurants are Lima Nikkei restaurant and Warike, both in Sydney. Luis, welcome to Dirty Linen.
Hello, Dani. Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to share my story. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm thrilled to have you on the show. I'm really excited to learn more about your story, which sounds very inspiring and must have taken a lot of determination to get to where you are now in Sydney, owning 2 restaurants. My goodness. But I want to start with Peru and Peruvian cuisine. I mean, I think it's one of the world's most interesting cuisines, but it's not one that we know that much about in Australia. I feel like a lot of people still have much to learn about what it means to eat Peruvian. Can you clue us in? Tell us about some of the characteristics of the food of Peru.
Well, I mean, Peruvian food is, like you said, is gaining, or it has been gaining, great popularity in the past few years. And I think it is a result of so much different cultural and diversity. So Peru's cuisine is results of many years of evolution of different immigrants. For example, Japanese coming into Peru and implementing, their techniques using Peruvian ingredients, and Chinese as well that came around, 250 years ago to Peru, and they came to work as, in the farms, and then they decided to stay, and that also resulted in a big part of Peru's culinary scene, which is chifa. So that the result of that union, that Peruvian Chinese influence is the biggest. There's 7,000 chifa restaurants in Lima only. So it's and then we have a European influence from France, Spain, Italy, and I think that's why Peruvian food is very appealing to a lot of different palates and backgrounds, because there's so much diversity in techniques and ingredients, and all of that is result of this migration that happened hundreds of years ago, and all of that has become Peruvian food, but with these additions of other cultures, that came to Peru, that mix their ingredients or the techniques with the Peruvian ingredients and Peruvian ways of cooking that came from the Incas or the Moches far back thousands years ago, and all of that is Peruvian cuisine of today, that also with all the new chefs and techniques is always evolving. There's always something new, and that's what makes Peruvian cuisine so special. I think I would say the main point is diversity of cultures that played a part in what Peruvian cuisine is today.
Yeah, so interesting. And I think, anyone that lives in Australia can relate to that diversity and the way that, immigrants come and bring food with them, but then it gets adapted and, transformed, and it's always alive and continuing to develop. So what sort of food did you grow up eating? What would be like a typical lunch, dinner, and food for a special occasion?
Well, I mean, we eat every day, everyday food. My mom was like the cook of the family, so she always managed to make something nice out of little, because we didn't have much. But we would go to the market, buy some veggies, some chicken, and always rice. We have rice almost with anything, unless we're having another carb like pasta or something. So she would make some sort of stew with chicken or some Peruvian spices and chilies and rice on the side and potatoes. So it was all, there was not the Peruvian dishes that you see in restaurants. It was more like everyday, Peruvian food, but it was a lot of rice and pastas and chicken and beef, but cooked with, just some days we use eggs and rice, or tuna from a can with rice, but she would put some Peruvian spices or something to make it taste nice, and it would work. So it was very, it is very, humble, but it was always tasty. So yeah.
So good. I thought potatoes were like a massive part of Peruvian cuisine, but they didn't seem to feature much in what you just told us.
Yeah, potatoes are really everyday food. There's so many, types of potatoes, and it is everyday food. Usually the day-to-day meal, for example, for me, I can describe one dish is ají de gallina. It's like a stew made with shredded chicken and a yellow Peruvian chili paste, and it takes rice and also potatoes with it. So that is an example of an everyday dish. Also, another dish is estofado, which is like a chicken stew that is made with potatoes, and also has rice on the side, and it has tomatoes, carrots. So yeah, it is. Potatoes are very everyday. Usually, if you have rice and you have a stew dish, then that sauce or the result of that thing would also go well with rice and potatoes. So anything that basically has rice, we have with potatoes. We are very in Peru we have a lot of dishes that include rice and potatoes simultaneously. So, and then in general, potatoes, because they are so diverse and there's so many of them, they're so accessible as well. Everyone's eating potatoes almost every day. It's just in different ways.
Yeah, amazing. Because, I heard there were more than 4,000 varieties of potatoes in Peru, which is simply mind-boggling. It feels like you'd have a different type of potato every day of your life.
Yes, it is a bit it is crazy. I myself, I haven't even tried that, probably not even 100 types of potatoes, but there's so many, mainly in the mountains area, on the Andes. There's so many potatoes as a result of the different altitudes, of the ground, so they can that's where most of the different types of potatoes come, because it's different ground, different geographic altitudes, and all these other things that help all these different types of potatoes to come to be.
Yeah, amazing. Well, you're very far ahead of me if you've had almost 100 types of potatoes. If I can probably think about maybe 10 at the most that I've had. So I've got a lot of catching up to do. So Lewis, tell us about coming to Australia. What was it that made you make this big journey?
Well, it's it's not really like the true story, like I always say, it's not really like I wanted to come here. It's not. It didn't come from me. My mom at the time, like I finished high school and I was working just to go out. Like I would work and then I go out on the weekends, and I was just in a time of my life that I was just relaxing too much, maybe. And my mom, like my uncles, lived in Sydney for I don't know 20 years at the time, and she spoke to them to see if like I could come here. So it was born from her, the idea that I should come to Australia to kind of like do something with my life. And yeah, at the time I was like, okay, I'll do it. I didn't think of it much because I was gonna come and study, and then with my studies go probably back to Peru and then try to get a good job or something. But the plan for her was for me to stay here, and hopefully I would like it and I would agree to stay. And yeah, I just I came to the house of my uncle and my auntie. They received me, they helped me a lot, and yeah, it was very hard to get used to it because I didn't have English. I couldn't. I didn't have anyone. Like obviously my uncle, my aunties, they received me well. They were very nice to me, and they did all they could to make me feel at home. But like I hadn't really spent much time with them before coming here, and I didn't really know anyone else. So it was like yeah, it felt very lonely. But I wanted to give it a try because my mom had like sacrificed everything so I can come. She like sold off the things that we could sell and more. So I wanted to do it, just to not disappoint her and do my best. So yeah, that kept me going and kept me here. And I was studying at the time I came, and I was studying English, and I was working a few jobs to continue paying for my studies because I had to pay every 6 months like about $7,000 for the rights to study and all of that usually students have to pay. And yeah, I had to work 3 jobs. I was working cleaning houses. I was working as laborer, helping my uncle because he's a handyman. And then I had a job at Timezone. I remember that was a bit later when my English got a bit better. So yeah.
Wow, that's an incredible story. Yeah, I can understand this feeling of it's not really what you wanted to do, but you felt this obligation, a responsibility to make the most of the experience because your mum had sacrificed so much. Were you still thinking about going back to Peru, or was it from an early stage where you're thinking, okay, I'm going to try to make a life here?
Yeah, no, I think the first probably 2-3 years I was like just thinking of going back. I was like, I didn't really want to tell my mom that I wanted to go back, but I was working and obviously I was doing what I had to do to stay here and like support myself because I didn't want to be like a burden for anyone. So I was still working, like I still like suffering, but doing what I had to do to keep going. And yeah, so yeah, basically the first 2 years I was just always like talking with my with my mom, with my friends in Peru, with like I was like half here, half there, kind of. So I was just like working all these things, and I wasn't studying much. And then at night I would just get home, and then because in Peru when it's night here it's like in the morning there, so I would just spend like most of the night talking with people, and then I get up and go to work again tired. So yeah, I was like not sure if I wanted to stay for a few years, but then yeah, slowly I I started to see that it was it was a like I like the Australia like way of if you work hard you can make something for you, like, and everyone's like like nice and fair, and it doesn't matter where you come from. If you do what you have to do to get things done, like you can basically do anything. So I like that thing that it's not like improved. Doesn't matter how much you work there, you cannot really get ahead because it is this like all these other things that play part to see who gets ahead and who doesn't. But here it's just like if you work hard enough and you do things right, like I like that anyone can be anything. So yeah, that's what started to shift my mind. And then slowly I started to to use the being happy about being here. I started making friends here, going out, getting together with Peruvian friends here, and just making it here be a bit like Peru. And I started feeling better every day, just trying to make being here comfortable and nice. And yeah, it got better with the years.
So you're working at Timezone, but then somehow food came in as something that you wanted to pursue. Tell me about that. How did this whole food thing develop for you?
So yeah, that's funny. Well, I mean, I started working at Timezone probably 2011, and I was working there for like 12 years before I started the restaurant. So, but I started in Timezone 1 year after I arrived here, when I have like kind of like decent English. And then I worked my way up from customer service to supervisor, and then venue manager, then area manager for the Timezone in New South Wales. But that took like all those 10 years, like slowly, because I was doing multiple jobs. So I think when I left all the other jobs is that when I started moving up in Timezone faster, because I put all my effort into that job. And around like 2018, I think, when the COVID started, the pandemic, the obviously Timezone went into a freeze or something, like an employment freeze, and everyone's at home. And there was nothing else to do. My mom had taught me how to cook my favorite dishes before I came, so I was always, when I had a chance, I was cooking. So the only other thing that I could do during lockdown was continue cooking. So I started watching videos on YouTube on how to do all the Peruvian dishes, and I would just copy that, go to Coles or Woolies and buy all the stuff and make my dishes and share with my partner and my kids. And I would take a photo and put it on my Facebook, and my friends would comment, we want to go eat this after lockdown or something. And I was cooking probably every couple of days a different dish. So I'm like, I like to the dish look nice and visual and also taste good. So everyone that was on my friend list on Facebook was, not everyone, but like my friends were commenting to come and eat. So yeah. And when the restrictions eased, I was inviting my friends to our place. It was an apartment, and I would cook for them. We just like get together as normal. I was making these dishes that I learned how to cook during lockdown, and they would also take photos and put it on their Facebook or Instagram. And then their friends saw that, and they started messaging me on Facebook saying, "Hey, can we come and eat? We are happy to pay," because there were people that either have tried Peruvian food or know someone that has tried Peruvian food. So they thought it would be nice. So, and I had a conversation with my partner. Well, I'm like, can we do this? Like, bring like some friends of friends that we don't know to our place to eat. And she said, why not? Because we weren't working, we weren't doing anything else, and she liked the food as well. So it was a chance for her also to eat more Peruvian food. so yeah, and that's how it started. So friends of friends, they started coming to our place. I was cooking for them, probably like a 3 or 4 dishes menu with some pisco sours, and they would pay enough for us to cover the cost of the goods. And yeah, so that's how it just started at home. I was doing that probably every couple of weeks, and yeah, more like these new people were posting, and then other people were reaching out to me saying, can we go to your place? And and yeah, that's how it became Warike, because Warike is like a hole in the wall. In Peru we call Warike to a hole in the wall, like a style of eatery where no one knows there's food there. And yeah, I just named it Warike because that's basically what we were at the time, and I didn't really think of it like, I'm gonna have a restaurant. I just like the feeling of people, sitting there having a good time, enjoying the food, and saying how good my food is. That was like, I like that. It's and a lot of people were trying Peruvian food for the first time too, and I was there like just sharing about my culture and through food, and it was nice. So it felt nice, and we kept doing that for a few weeks. So
Okay. I mean, it sounds so nice, and it is very intoxicating to get that feedback and to feel like you're enriching other people, getting that small amount of recognition from sharing your food and your culture. But it's a long way from these occasional pop-ups to opening a restaurant. So how did you take that next step?
well, then yeah, that was I mean, this was I think around 2019. So I think that was when the first lockdown finished. So and there was another lockdown to come later on. So we were like happy with how everyone, me and my partner. So I thought, okay, let's open a restaurant. Like just go from the house to a restaurant. And she's like, I think she always just supports me. What I say, she tries to be supportive, and I appreciate that a lot because she's my rock. But at the time, we didn't know anything about restaurants, and I went to my cousin because he's worked in hospitality for a while. He's managed a few restaurants, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna lease this restaurant. He's like, are you crazy? You know nothing about restaurants. How are you gonna go and lease a place? It was in Newtown. I remember we were like so close. We had the heads of agreement, everything ready to go. And he's like, and there was a barbecue happening in my uncle's house that weekend for a birthday, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it was a birthday, and he invited the owners of the restaurant that he manages to that barbecue, so they can talk me out of leasing this place. So we sat down, and then they're like, why don't you do a pop-up, Jason and Tina, and why don't you do a pop-up? The restaurant is called Nikkei, and it closes on Sundays. So they say use the space on Sundays. If you just do the pop-up, at least you don't have anything to lose if you don't like it, and if you do like it, at least you can learn a bit before you open a restaurant. And if you can make Sundays work, that's why a lot of places close on Sunday because it doesn't really work. Then that means you have something special. That's what they told me, and I was like, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense because I knew nothing about restaurant. I was just working operations in family entertainment centers for 11 years. Obviously, some of that customer service, it's helped me a lot, but it's a whole different thing. So yeah, I agreed with them. They let me use their venue for the pop-ups on Sundays, and we started. I think it was close to the end of the year in 2019, and we did our first pop-up. And it was me, my partner, and my uncles, and it was a disaster. I was cooking like I was at home, and my partner was trying to help, like the tables, the front of house, and we had some some like guests that had already been to the pop-up, to our house, to do kind of like a soft thing. The first pop-up, I didn't want to go too crazy. And we just had like 20 guests. And then, I was just way in over my head. I couldn't get my prep done. I was just by myself in the kitchen trying to cook for everyone, and it was a disaster. Then they started leaving. They're like, "Oh, thank you, we have to go." It was like they were waiting for like an hour and a half. They were so nice, but then I was like, "Yeah, I think I only got out one dish at ceviche, I think," and then the other dishes they just couldn't wait, and I was like, "Yeah, it's okay, sorry." We didn't charge them anything, of course, but I felt bad. And then that was the first pop-up. It was a big learning experience, and thankfully, Marco, who's my cousin, and Jason and Tina were there like almost every weekend on Sundays, like giving me feedback, like how to do, what to do. They said, I have to get out of the kitchen if I want to have a restaurant, and I did. And then found a chef and found someone to help on the floor, and the pop-ups started working, and I started learning a lot about the operation of the restaurant. And every Sunday, slowly we keep getting more and more guests. We added live music to make it like a bit it's more special. So there was this entertainment. They played traditional Peruvian music, and that was, so it was kind of like a escape to Peru day, on Sundays in Surrey Hills. We did that for about a year. Every Sunday we were full. The last few weeks of the pop-up, we were like booked out a week in advance, so it was really, really nice, really special. It felt really good, like, because most of the visitors, guests were new to Peruvian food, and also Peruvians that miss home. So it was nice to be that connection, for Peruvians that miss like I was, when I arrived, like I miss the food, and to kind of like give them a little piece of Peru, at least for one day, and also introduce new people to Peruvian food and culture. It felt really good. So yeah, we did that for over a year, and then we found this. It was like, because my partner was, she was always helping me with the pop-ups. We would go to the Flemington markets in the morning on Saturdays, buy all the stuff, prep it the whole Saturday, bring it to the restaurant on Sundays, and go to the fish market on the same Sunday in the morning so we can get the fresh fish. It was a lot of work for the 52 weeks or something. That was for a year, and we thought, okay, we're not gonna do a pop-up forever, so we either go do a restaurant or just we just stop it. And it was nice and everything, but we had to make a decision, because obviously we didn't want to do that always, because it was a lot of work. Because
you're still working. You went back to your job at Timezone after lockdown.
Yes. So all this time I was working full time. So I was working full time. I had like all these venues to look after. So I was doing this like as a side thing on the weekends. So I was working full time Monday to Friday, and then on Saturdays we would go to the markets and prep whole day. And Sunday we would go to the fish market and then go to the restaurant. We had to bring everything in on the day and take it with us as well, because the place is small, so we couldn't leave stuff there. So it was like, we had an extra fridge at home so we can keep the pop-up stuff. So.
That is a lot, Luis. So, it could go one of two ways. Like, okay, this is a lot of work. This is really hard. I've got a stable job. Let's just call it a day. Or you could go, okay, let's do this properly and go all in. So obviously you chose the latter, but how did you have the confidence to make this big leap?
Well, I think we built the confidence over time, because we could see that like the concept was something that people enjoyed, because we had a lot of new guests. We had a like a good guest base that we built only doing Sundays, and we thought, okay, we did all the math, because we analyzed like all our guest base at database, and we thought, okay, if we open probably these more days, we can probably be busy, and if we find a place that is cheap enough to rent, we can make it work. But first of all, we had that conversation. Do we want to do it? I was like, yeah, I want to do it, because I want to, because I like that part of like the hospitality and like representing Peru, if you could say. And my partner was very supportive, so she was saying, yes, let's do it. But she's working full time, and also that's we thought, okay, we found this place in Surrey Hills where we are now, and the rent was accessible, but we just didn't have enough money for the startup costs. So we thought, okay, we can do it. Let's find someone to help us with the startup costs, like to get the place looking good, because it was abandoned for like 5 years. When they started doing the light rail work, they closed it down, the previous cafe that was there. And we just thought, it is a good sign that that we went from the house to the pop-up, and the pop-up now is like booked out every Sunday, and every Sunday we have new people. So I think that gave us confidence that it can work, because it started like that, and it just grow from nothing, and we could see people loved it, and we could see we were having new people every Sunday. So that's where we got the confidence from, and yeah, we decided to find someone. We had a couple options, and then the one that we agreed to was all good. So we went ahead, we signed the lease, and then I don't know, 1 month later, when we like asking for the funds to close the the partnership deal, because we were gonna start like getting stuff, the works done, and then they just say, oh, sorry, with the pandemic, and then something else, I am not very confident, and I'm gonna have to pull out, and I'm sure you can find someone else, and all that, blah blah blah.
Oh no, that must have been a very scary moment.
So we were like, what do we do now? We have the lease already signed, and it's like, if we break it, I mean, even if we broke it, like in the long scheme of things, even though we were liable for like a lot, we weren't really like, we weren't forced to continue with the restaurant. Like, we made the decision to continue because we wanted to, but it really affected us to get the place started without the funding. But it was not like we were forced to continue with the restaurant, because we had all these legalities to deal with. So it was more like, do we want to do it or not? Like, because it's gonna be a lot harder now with without the funding, because we didn't have much savings, like not much at all. We were working full time, so we thought, okay, do we just scrap it, or and deal with all the consequences, or do we keep going? So we decided to keep going, do it by ourselves. And our family were supportive as well, and close friends. So they're like, yeah, you can do it. And yeah, we went ahead. We do it in our own. Luckily, we got a few months rent free, and it was quite like 4 or something months. And all this time, I was like, after work, going to the restaurant and fix up a little bit for like 4 months. So, and I think I took a month annual leave in January that year. So the whole month I was like working there, like breaking things down, or like painting, or doing the floors, or something. So I was working there and working my job for like 3 months, and we were like waiting for each pay cycle to come into our account, so we can, buy some materials or buy some chairs or buy some, something the kitchen needed, some equipment. So it was like over the course of 4 months, slowly, like paycheck to paycheck, we started building up the place to, to where we needed it to be to open.
Wow. It must have been a really tough time. But in the end, do you feel glad that you did it yourselves? Like, is it actually better to not have an investor, from this perspective?
It worked out really well for us. So obviously we suffered a lot. We had very hard times. We had to put everything that we had, and we had to get a lot of loans. Like, I remember we needed some money for something, but no one else would give me a loan anymore. So it was very difficult. But after, a few months when we opened, we started getting money in and paying off some of the things. We realized it was the best thing that could have happened, because, we did it all ourselves. And even though at the time we didn't know, we didn't really need that investment. Because obviously we wanted to do a whole really nice fit out and good tables, good chairs and whatnot, but in the end, it didn't really impact much on the end result. Obviously the place would have looked a lot better and felt nicer, but the essence of the place and the vibe, I don't know, the environment felt cozy, felt nice, and we were happy with what we got at the end. And yeah, we did it all ourselves, and we didn't need to give something of our business to someone else. So I guess that's the main thing. In the looking at it from the perspective now, is we didn't really need to overspend. It was better to start small and just have it all for just build the business ourselves, rather than get an investor and have a nice shiny place with all the good chairs and tables. So yeah, that's I think that the most important thing, that it's better to it was better for us to just start a little bit humble with actually we made the tables ourselves. I just bought slats from Bunnings, wood slats, and then we cut it in pieces, and then so it was a lot of that improvising that we had to do, but people at the end, they enjoy the environment, they enjoy the hospitality, they love the food, so it didn't really make much of a difference if everything was high end or not. So
I think that's such a good lesson. Because it's easy to spend money if you've got it, but if you don't have it and you make do, I guess you realize what's really important. So Lewis, that's the first restaurant, but somehow in such a short time, you have 2 restaurants. So how did the second one come about?
That was interesting. So, I mean, we had been invited to do a pop-up in an art exhibition. So there was going to be an art exhibition in Walsh Bay, and we were invited to do a pop-up. It was going to go for 6 months or something. Yeah, 6 months, 3 months. And we were offered the kitchen there. There was a big floor, so apparently this art exhibition was going to be full every day, and we were offered that place. And the kitchen, we just had to fit it out ourselves, buy tables, chairs, kitchen equipment, and not appliances, but tools and things and bits and things, and tables and everything, and hire a team obviously to run this. And we thought it could be good marketing for Warike, because it was a big company that was inviting us to take part of this exhibition, and the artist was also known globally and very famous painter. So we thought, okay, it's gonna be good, let's do it. And when we started doing our plan of the expenses and seeing how much we're gonna need to spend to get this started to do this pop-up in this art exhibition, we thought, wow, that's a lot. And one day I'm walking like back from meeting with this representative in Walsh Bay, and I see this place that is empty and it says for lease, and it looked like it was recently closed because it had all the tables, chairs, and bar was set up, and you could see that there was kitchen equipment in place. So I was like, wow. So I give them a ring. I'm like, oh, hey guys, like I just try inquiring about like what's the deal, and then we went and inspected the place, and it looked like it was ready to go. So yeah, we compared the cost to like have our own place, another restaurant, or like do this pop-up for 6 months, and we thought, like we better off just like doing another restaurant. So it wasn't really like that we had been planning it. It was kind of like a coincidence, which is funny, but we also wanted to have a different like concept of Peruvian food, so it kind of like all aligned at the same time, and yeah, so we inspected this place, and it was pretty much ready to go, and yeah, we met with the negotiations, and everything happened really quick. Like it was everything happened really quick with the second one, and we wanted to do a different concept of Peruvian cuisine, which is Nikkei, and that's where Hector, our partner, comes along, because he's lived in Japan for a few years, and he's worked in Japanese embassy of Peruvian embassy in Japan, so he's kind of like, he knows a lot of this style of cuisine, this concept. So we thought, we are going through a good momentum with Warike. We are very busy. We have like a great social momentum with the socials, and I think it's a good time. We thought it would be a good time to go for the second one while we were like doing so well, and yeah.
Wow. It's amazing. It's just, yeah, you accidentally opened another restaurant. So, Lewis, when you look back on this amazing journey, I mean, how do you reflect on your progress from uncertain immigrant to multi-venue business owner?
Well, I mean, I think it's really nice. It feels good, but I'm just like, I don't know. It feels like, for me, I'm not very attached to the places. I'm more like grateful for like all the the people that are being impacted by it. Then obviously it feels good to be to have my own business and do my own thing, and decide how things happen. But for me, it's more like who are we impacting by this, and what is it changing. I think all of that comes from like my mom in the end, because she kind of like showed me a lot of things of life that I didn't know before, that I just I grew up like just not having much, and if I needed something, I was taught you should work, and so you can get what you want. Since little, I was never giving things for free, so I was never able to form any sort of entitlement. So it was, I think that's all. That was I was just lucky, I guess, to have a great mom, because she showed me like there's a lot of things like more important than that what you have is like the people you impact and how they remember you. So yeah, the biggest thing that I like about like and drives me constantly is that that feeling of, all these people that are coming here, they're having a great time, they celebrating, a birthday or 50th anniversary, or they're getting engaged here, or they're proposing or meeting for the first time. It's like how we are a place that enables all these, life memorable moments. So that's what kind of like, motivates me and keeps me going, and what makes me full is that feeling. Obviously, it feels good to have my own restaurants, to come from having nothing to having two restaurants, but I think it's more like thanks to the way I was raised, and how I saw my mom be like a person, that didn't really have nothing to the name, you could say, somehow, like, but you could see like the love. She had the love of everyone, and that motivated me to be that type of person as well, that, regardless of if I have the restaurants or not, like, I'm good, and I just care about, like, how good I can be to the people I come in contact with, and if I can continue growing and doing more good things for others, that's good. And yeah, I think that's the main thing, and that's helped me to, I guess, to go through all the difficult moments, because they were really, hard moments, and the only way to get through them was like be able to stay, strong in my head, and remember, it's more than just, the restaurants. It's so yeah.
Yeah. Wow, Lewis, what an amazing tale. And I'm sure your mum is so proud of you. Has she had the opportunity to visit you and see the restaurants?
No, I mean, my mom passed away like 5 years ago. No, 6 years ago. So yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm sure she is, wherever she is, I'm sure she is so proud of you.
That was like it was like very obviously difficult time in my life, but the biggest life-changing moment for me as well was when, I lost my mom, because it was like, she taught me how to be a good person, and I could see like how many people really care for her and love her, and even though, like, you could say, like, like we didn't have much, but she's always making others feel good, and it doesn't matter if it's the gardener or the guy that picks up the rubbish, or anyone, she would just invite them in, have a meal, have some water, get washed up, and go keep doing your day. And I was seeing that as a kid, that she was this type of person that doesn't matter how little you have, you can always do something for someone. And I think that's what, that's how I became to be, and I'm still continuously trying to be better. But yeah, that was the best lesson for me is just, is to be a good person, and good things happen. So yeah.
Amazing, Lewis. Well, it's a real privilege to chat to you today and hear your story. Very inspiring, and I look forward to coming and eating in your restaurants, and celebrating what you've achieved. Thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you very much, Dani. I'm very thankful for your time and for sharing your platform with me and hearing my story, and I can't wait to to show you Warike or Lima, to share a bit of Peruvian hospitality with you.
I'm hungry for it. Thanks, Lewis.
Thank you.
This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinen@deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta @dirtylinen podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.